Hi, everyone. I have here with us another amazing Marvel creator, Charles Soule. And you are, I mean, it's going to be too long to list all of your accomplishments. You are a writer, a novelist, an attorney,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
we'll get into.
Uh-huh.
What's it like to be here at Comic Con?
It is thrilling to be back at Comic-Con. It feels like the energy of all of this has really come back in a really exciting way. And it's nice to be talking to you guys again, too. I've been at Marvel for almost a decade at this point. So,
Almost for your secrets.
I know. So,
No more than 18.
so getting to talk about the work where the work is now, it's just great. I love it.
Well, so going back to this, even before we talk about what you're doing now, just because it's at the top of everyone's minds. I mean, you've been working on SheHulk for a long time. We're working, excuse me. And everyone's watching the show. We're tracking it. I think we're like towards episode 7 now.
Yeah,
of the
I think
season.
that's just there. Yeah.
Based on what you've been through, what can Shulky fans kind of expect about SheHulk in general?
Well,
the character.
So the fun thing about the She-Hulk show is that I actually worked. So I wrote a run with Javier Pulido and Ron Wimberly on art back in 2014. And then when the show started to be developed, this would be 2020, they reached out to me to actually be the legal consultant on the She-Hulk TV show. So because I have a legal background, I've been an attorney for a long, long time. And so I was able to, read the scripts and talk to the writers in the writers' room and the producers and say, well, in this situation, this is how lawyers and judges in the courtroom and all those things would actually act and behave. So a lot of the surprises that people are so excited about, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some very fun things that happen in the She-Hulk show. The show itself is super fun. The way Tatiana Maslany plays the character, the sort of turning to the camera and saying, hey, the breaking the fourth wall, it's all awesome. And so getting to see that all early in the script phase, getting to add my little tiny part to it by offering some little bits of legal advice, and then seeing how they went from script to screen it's just a blast. So I'm enjoying it as a fan as much as I did as being part of it early, and I know where it goes, the things you guys don't know, and it is. It gets even cooler. As cool as it's been, where it goes is just great.
It's amazing that you are still with Marvel, but to let you be a part of all the future iterations is, I feel like, such a touching thing. It's like these characters go through growth, and you're a part of that growth. So every iteration, it feels nice to harken back to what it was.
I feel exactly the same way. I think that the way that the MCU, right? So all the shows and the movies and all that incorporate very directly the stories from the comics, mine or anybody else's, right? Is a really cool thing, because that is really where it all began, where it continues to begin. Stories from now are going to be the shows and TV and films of the future. So being able to be part of it, not just as a comic creator, but also as, I guess, a lawyer, which is kind of weird, but whatever, is great. It's very fulfilling. It really feels like it's coming full circle for me personally. So it's a blast.
I mean, you have such an interesting background before you ever got into comics. I think even you studied Eastern Asian studies.
Yeah, I was Chinese guy.
How does all of this inform your process into story writing now that you kind of at some point switch careers?
I think every writer uses their life as research for the stories they write. They put themselves into the stories they're telling, because you kind of have to, right? You all write what you know is a real. It's how it works. For me personally, I mean, in addition to writing She-Hulk, I also had a really long run on Daredevil, which is the other big Marvel Universe lawyer, who's also in the headlines these days because he's popping up on She-Hulk, which is fun. And there's going to be the Born Again TV show soon too, which is great. So for me, having a legal background has allowed me to explore some of the Marvel characters in a lens that people who aren't lawyers maybe, but they wouldn't write it the same way. It's not like one's better or worse. It's just my angle. So I've loved that, and I've been fortunate to travel a lot, live all over the world, see different things, and all of those life experiences go into every story I write, one way or another, just like anybody.
Well, okay, you've traveled to many locations, lived in many areas, but you haven't lived in space. But
have not lived in space.
You do write about Star Wars.
I do. For the last several years, the biggest chunk of my Marvel Comics writing has been in the Star Wars universe. So I've been writing the Marvel flagship title for a while. I
You fleshed out a whole new character for us, Poe Dameron.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly, which was great. I've been telling a big event story alongside the Star Wars flagship, bringing Kira, Emilia Clarke's character from the Solo movie, back into the comics, which has been awesome. I've also been doing some work on the High Republic, which is a new era of Star Wars.
Definitely tell us about that, whatever you can.
Yeah,
but.
sure. So a few years ago, Star Wars: The High Republic began, which is set about 200 years before Episode 4 and Episode 1 and the stories that we've seen. And it's a golden age for the Star Wars galaxy. So there are tons of Jedi around. Things are basically pretty great until, of course, they're not, because it wouldn't be much of a story if things were just great all the time.
We need some chaos.
So I was one of the 5 lead-off architects of the High Republic, and so we built it from the ground up to be a totally new thing and have all new characters, and it's been really, really warmly received, both in comics and in novels and in all these sort of other areas in which the story is being told. So we just finished phase 1 of all that. Phase 2 of it is actually kicking off basically here at New York Comic Con.
Exciting.
It is very exciting. There's going to be a whole new line of Marvel Comics. I am actually writing one for that called The Blade, which is about one of the best lightsaber Jedi that has ever picked one up. So that's really fun. Like a real, Inigo Montoya of lightsabers. It's great.
Well, so speaking to that, to our fans at home who are watching this, is there anything we can expect to see from you over the next 4 days in addition?
Well, there's a big High Republic panel on Saturday, which is going to we're going to be announcing a bunch of stuff, including sneak peeks of the Marvel comics that are coming out. Mine, The Blade, Kevin Scott's High Republic series. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff there. I'll probably have some other things announced as well. And mostly just I'll be around celebrating with the fans. It's just, the way that they give back at a show like this is unbelievable. The way you feel, because, writing, you're mostly just sitting, by yourself at the keyboard, right?
Get to really engage.
And this way, you get to understand how your stories connect with people and touch people, and it's wonderful. It always feels great.
Thank you so much for joining
pleasure.
us, Charles. Y'all have to look out for everything that he's got going on all weekend long. Let's see what else is happening at Comic-Con.